Hey, welcome back to the channel. You probably know this light. It's the Godox SL60, a very famous light, but it's very simple and it kind of lacks a few features. But I've found some accessories for this light that help brighten the intensity of it, shape the light better, soften and color the light, as well as help transport it because it does come in a cardboard box. And all of these items are still under a pretty small budget. And if you stick around till the end of this video, I'll show you another accessory for the Godox that I've been using for the last few videos, and it has rarely come off of that light ever since. And if you're interested in any of these products, I have the links for them down below. Now the first accessory I want to show you is this Fresnel lens by Nice Photo. Now this Fresnel lens does quite a bit for the Godox in terms of giving the light more control. Firstly, because this is a Fresnel lens, it helps narrow the beam of light to a much narrower degree. And because we can zoom the Fresnel, we can narrow the beam even further to get almost a spotlight effect. And if you want to shape it even more, there are barn doors, so you can shutter the light and maybe cut it off in different edges of the beam. And as you may have noticed, once the Fresnel is on, it actually intensifies the light because it is taking all of that light and condensing it into the narrower beam. One thing to keep in mind though with Fresnel lenses is that many of them are made specifically for that brand of light. So for example, aperture Fresnels are made much more specifically for the aperture lights because they know how their chips work. If I were to put an aperture Fresnel on a Godox, it would act a little bit differently. Even though it would still be usable, the result would be a little bit different and you may get a little bit more spill here and there on your beam of light. Speaking of the spreading of light, the Fresnel also comes with this little grid, which fits both in the Fresnel itself and also in the reflector of the Godox. This not only helps narrow the beam even further, but it also helps cut any spill that's happening from the light deflecting off of the glass interior of the Fresnel. And now the second thing that this grid does is it actually lowers the intensity of the light. Normally that would be a bad thing, but for the Godox SL60, one of my biggest beefs is that it only goes to 10% brightness, and that 10% is still pretty bright. So I have found myself many times using this light at its lowest intensity, wanting it to go even darker, and then putting this grid on there and lowering the brightness. Now the second accessory for the Godox that works really well is this softbox from Bitful. I won't go into too much detail because I have already made a video on the softbox, so if you want to learn more specifics about it, check out that video. But to put it shortly, this softbox is pretty affordable and it is pretty high quality, but best of all, it is very fast to set up because we just knock these ribs into place and we have a softbox fully built in less than 10 seconds. I've used this softbox along with the Godox quite a few times as a fill light, which it works great for when I'm using brighter lights as the key. This combo also does work pretty well as a key light as long as you're in a somewhat dark environment and you're not battling the sun or a really bright window. And another great accessory for this light are color gels. You can get a lot of different quality of gels. These are much lower quality, but because this light doesn't get hot, I don't have to worry about burning through these. And I also have some gels too for my lights that get much warmer. And now the fourth accessory that I want to share with you is this toolbox from Stanley. If you've seen any unboxings of this light, you may know that it just comes in a cardboard box with styrofoam packaging inside. That works great for shipping, but not so great for using all the time, and especially when you're working with clients. I found this Stanley toolbox at Walmart for maybe 16 bucks, and it fits this light perfectly, and it also fits it with the Fresnel attachment already on the light. And so that this light doesn't get banged around in this box much, I cut up a yoga mat and put it in the bottom so it has a softer bottom. And that's also a great DIY tip, is taking a yoga mat and adding compartments by cutting your little pieces out into your boxes so that everything fits in there really snugly. And this box does have a few compartments so you can add your Godox remote in there or any other small tools that you have. But it's super cheap, it works really well for this light, and I've been using it with it for years. And now the last accessory that I said I would show you is the Amaran Spotlight SE. I know that's not a super budget-friendly accessory, but it does really work great, and it works even better when it's on sale, which is where I got it. It helps you really fine-tune cutting the light into specific shapes, adding gobos into the light so you can get all sorts of shapes and patterns and various types of branches. And actually that's what I'm using right now behind me to cast this little branch-like shadow. Is I have a second Godox up there with a spotlight shining back there, and adds a little bit of texture to the background. And when you do buy the spotlight, you have the option to get a 19-degree lens and a 36-degree lens. I would recommend getting the 36 because it is wider and it works much better in tighter spaces. But anyway, those are all the items that I have used with the Godox, and I actually use quite often with this light. They've all come in really handy, and I also use them for other lights as well. So if I ever upgrade to the point where I don't need this light anymore, I don't have to worry about kicking out those accessories as well. But that's it for the video. If you did enjoy it, do please give it a like. It does help me out. And if you subscribe, that would be great as well. But that's all I have for you, so I will see you in the next one.